At Bishop Lifting and lifting.com, we sell a lot of different chain. One of the most popular types is grade 70, known for its distinct gold coloring. It is the chain of choice for the tie down, load securement, cargo control industry, however you think of it. This is the chain that people use commonly to tie down product with binders. The gold coloring does make the chain very easy to identify as grade 70. It also adds some layer of corrosion protection, but it's worth noting that in the field and in service, chain like this will lose its finish in a matter of time. Now, depending upon how old you are, how long you've been in the industry, you might be thinking, well, what about high test chain? That's a pretty old call out that some customers will still come to us for. High test really refers to grade 40 or grade 43 chain, which used to be the standard until it was replaced by grade 70. Now, despite its strength, grade 70 still is a carbon chain, not an alloy chain, and therefore it's not for critical applications and it's never for overhead lifting. One of the most common mistakes or follies that we see in the field is a truck shows up with equipment or product to be unloaded. Some sort of rigging chain is required. The crew that's on hand doesn't have one. They look to the truck, they see the binders and the chains, they grab one of the tie down chains and they choose to use that for overhead lifting. Not only are those chains not rated for overhead lifting, they're often not inspected very well. The hooks that are on there may or may not be attached with clevis pins that simply have a short cotter pin in there. A lot of times those cotter pins are not properly installed. So please do not do this. It's a big mistake in the industry and it's totally avoidable. So you might be asking, okay, well, what is an overhead lifting chain? That would be grade 80 or above. So grade 70 chains do not meet the criteria for overhead lifting. Grade 80 chain is stronger than grade 70, but even grade 80 has largely been replaced by grade 100, which is about 25% stronger than grade 80 alone. Now, whether it's grade 80, grade 100, or grade 120, all those sizes are recognized and approved for lifting by NACM, ASME, and OSHA. Now, being the standard for tie down or cargo control, grade 70 chain has a lot of products that are meant to work with it, such as load binders, whether it's a lever binder or ratchet binder, or different hooks and attachments. The two of the most common sizes of grade 70 chain are 5/16 and 3/8. These are the two most common binder chains that you'll find on the market. Again, there's a lot of binders that are meant to work with them. Therefore, there's also a lot of fittings. Hooks are very common for those two sizes of grade 70 chain as well. Now, I have on the table in front of me just a few different types of hooks. This right here is what we call a clevis grab hook. It's a grade 70 product. This is a clevis slip hook or sling hook, although you don't want to use it in a sling, so let's just call it a slip hook. Again, it has a keeper latch on it, and this is a clevis fitting just like this one. And then we have this one here, which is actually a locking grab hook. And just to throw a little wrench into the works, this is a grade 80 hook. It does have the gold coloring. You will find on occasion manufacturers who proactively step up in terms of the material that they use. They'll use a grade 80 product. Really nothing wrong with that. A lot of customers will use grade 80 or grade 100 or even grade 120 for tie down or load securement. Just know that grade 70 is the standard, but it doesn't mean you can't go up. Now on the table we have 4 different sizes of grade 70 chain. So this is 9/32 or 1/4 inch, really depends on which one you want to go with, but in the industry they're interchangeable. 5/16, 3/8, so the two in the middle being the most popular. And the biggest on the table is 1/2 inch. There is even one extra size up to 5/8, not represented here. Not as common, not as popular, but it does exist. So if you're picking out a binder to use with your chain, keep this in mind. 3/8 grade 70 has a working load limit of 6,600 pounds, referred to as WLL, working load limit. You might also see a reference to SWL, which is safe working load. Again, those terms are used interchangeably in the industry. So if you want to pick out a binder to match, make sure you find one that has the proper strength rating and is also sized to work with 3/8. Now, a lot of binders will have more than one size printed on them. So it could be used with 5/16 or 3/8, 3/8 or 1/2 inch. But, and here's the part that gets a lot of people, that size might not indicate grade 70 for both of them. So it could be 5/16 grade 70 or 3/8 grade 43, or 3/8 grade 70 or 1/2 inch grade 43. So you have to pay attention to not only the size rating, but also the strength rating of the binder to make sure you're matching it appropriately to the chain that you're using. Now on the table, you're seeing just like a 1 foot section of each chain, but this chain can be bought not only by the foot, it can also be bought in pre-cut lengths, typically at 20 feet. And we call those binder chains. Some people call them boomer chains. So 5/16 by 20 feet or 3/8 by 20 feet. Those are the two most common sizes of binder chains that we sell. Now in the chain or in binder chain configurations or even some of these hook products, we have both import and USA options. So again, trying to serve both customer bases. You have those that require USA domestic products for their job. You have those who are trying to shop on a budget. Economy is a big deal, we get it. So we do offer both on our site. So that's it, guys. That's the video on Grade 70 chain and fittings. Hopefully you found it useful. If you did, give us a like, maybe share the video or leave a comment. We certainly do appreciate your participation, and we hope to see you in the next video.